What's up? What's up? It is another wonderful, glorious Friday, and this is another wonderful and probably stupid episode of Ask Christian Anarchist. I am your host, the Christian Anarchist, and I am here to hopefully entertain you as much as possible. As I say this, I am shaking up some good old-fashioned G Fuel. Hopefully, it doesn't hurt too much because I got some blister thing on the from my mouth, and I heard someone comes in, and it is the person who wears green and apparently might be a female leprechaun based upon the look. It is the Holy Spackle who joins us in right on the introduction. Welcome, Holy Spackle.
Why, thank you. Did I come in too early? I apologize.
Are you kidding me? There's no such thing as too early, homegirl. You're good. You're fine. But yeah, welcome to Ask Christian Anarchist, and all you who are watching likewise be welcome. So let me explain. Let me get the picture, because actually, while I was too excited making my G Fuel to help keep me awake, I forgot to pull up this whole thing so that way you guys can know how to ask questions in case you guys are new to the show. I don't want to assume that y'all have been here for a while. That's why I make sure anyone here who's a newbie gets down on the basics. So here we go. You can ask on that YouTube live chat. If you're watching on YouTube, you see the chat where people are talking, especially the one person that's in there who goes by the name of Christian Man. Hello, I see you. Yeah, you can join in that. Ask your question via there. Or you can go on Twitter. Use the hashtag AskCA, along with tagging me in the post, by the way, and I'll try to get to your question. Ask the link via Skype, or if you have me on here, Google Hangouts, and we can get something arranged for you to get that. Or you can ask on the Discord server, which we have a Discord server. Go to the description box below, and you can click on that link, and you can join the Ask CA Discord server. Pretty much that's it. So that being said, without any huskadoos, before we go into the questions, I do want to explain something that's going to probably be interesting for those of you who follow me on Twitter and probably have already seen something like this. I have been into an interesting conversation today with some people who accuse this guy of being a Nazi, which, by the way, ironically, while they're calling this guy a Nazi, they call this of a gay African-American conservative male. And I guess it's just because they got conservative on that aspect. Oh, and he's a furry, too. Keep that in mind now. He's also a furry. So you got a lot of minority issues right there alone with those three. But you have conservative there. And because of that he's alt-right, and he's part of some group called the Furry Raiders, I guess, something happens what involves with him getting depicted as a Nazi, and now he's banned from Twitter, or his account got deleted from Twitter for apparently being a Nazism thing, which I done the investigation and know that's not true, and I asked questions, and apparently not only have I gotten blocked by a couple of people, but now people are calling me a Nazi apologist and a Nazi sympathizer now on Twitter, at least some of them in the furry community, though there's not all of them that do. I have others that are friends in that community that obviously don't see me in that light. But yeah, there's all that stuff going on. But hey, we're still moving and rolling. I don't honestly care too much of what they say, because look where we're at. We're doing this on a Friday night. Y'all are here. Y'all got y'all sweet tea and lattes. Now let's go ahead, get into some Ask Christian Anarchist number 76. Am I right, Spackle?
You are right. You've been doing this forever.
Woo! That's what I'm talking about. All right. Now, let's go ahead. Before we go in, I want to try to get to one person who could not make it in here today because he, for one, is in another country and he's probably asleep right now. But we're going to get Marshall Mather's question in. Ooh, gotta love that G Fuel. All right. For today's show, the first question goes from Marshall that was messaged beforehand, and that is, based on what biblical evidence can you say Zulu is not a Christian Okay, so the question that he's asking is for those wanting context. He's asking this of a personal one. He's talking about a guy named Tian Zulu, also formerly known as Halrius Zulu. And the context there is that he used to be, or that he is a Seventh-day Adventist, and that would be ultimately one of the things that why I would say is not a Christian, and it's not, and people, and I don't think it's just simply like, well, it's just simply a different beliefs and all that stuff. When I've taken a look at what it is that these guys do affirm and what they believe. I even wrote notes about this to prepare ahead for a debate discussion that was supposed to go down between me and a guy that was part of the Seventh-day Adventist community, which his name slips my mind, but the organization was called Amazing Facts, which is something that is very popular concerning the Seventh-day Adventist community. So let me see if I can find the notes real quick. All right, there we are. All right, so there are three things that I believe that are contradictory into what the Bible says concerning what these guys affirm. And that is the Sabbath doctrine that they have, the sanctuary doctrine, and then their view on Ellen G. White. So they believe, this is from the fundamental beliefs, that, quote, the Sabbath is a day of delightful communion with God and one another. It is a symbol of our redemption in Christ and a sign of our sanctification, a token of our allegiance, and a foretaste of our eternal future in God's kingdom. And they say that the Sabbath is supposed to be the sign of his covenant between us and him. But they also go further into that. If you actually read their books, like The Great Controversy, the most popular one, and you can get a free copy of this book if you look in certain sites, says that the Sabbath will be the great test of loyalty. And then she says, when the final test shall be brought to bear upon men, the line of distinction will be drawn between those who serve God and those who serve him not. And so when it says the Sabbath is the test of loyalty, the Sabbath, meaning the Saturday worship, is going to be what draws the distinction between those who truly serve God and those who do not. So they're going to put all of it on the issue of, okay, what day do you worship? That's going to be the test in the end times is, okay, you may say you worship God, but here's how we know you truly do it. Do you worship on Saturday or Sunday? And so that'll be done, even though the Bible nowhere makes this demand for Christians in the New Covenant for Sabbath worship. People were allowed to have the Sabbath worship, but they weren't enforcing it and were not allowed to enforce it. So let's take a look at some of the biblical points of this. The fact that, in Colossians, it says that you shall not have any concerning these issues of feasts, Sabbath, and all this, you should not judge people for this. Instead, what happens is that you should realize that these led to Christ, that the Sabbath led to Christ in terms of what was the Sabbath practice back then leading to Christ, who then says that we are within the apostles, for example, as in Galatians chapter 5, verses 3 through 4, for I testify again to every man that is circumcised, that he is a debtor to the whole law. Christ has become of no effect unto you. Whoever of you are justified by the law, you are fallen from grace. So we see right here, if you try to justify yourself or think that you need to be redeemed by that issue and trying to keep the law, it says that you are fallen from grace. And then the issue is also, but the early church thought, concerning this day, they were not obligated to follow it. And some of them were taught by the apostles. Romans chapter 14, verse 5 then says, one man esteemeth one day above another, another esteemeth every day alike. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. He that regardeth the day regardeth it unto the Lord, and he that regardeth it not the day to the Lord he doth not regard it. So it's about then, where's our attitude? So while we may not practice the Sabbath, we still at least do Sunday and honor it up to God. So we don't have to be Sabbath keepers in order to follow and obey and do the whole thing with God. So they try to make an emphasis on Sabbath, then to make sure not go too much more onto it, you have the issue about their belief on the sanctuary, which is a whole lot of cans and worms. You can look into this stuff yourself about what they believe, but they believe like this is the main essential pillar of Seventh-day Adventism, and a lot of the scholars say this. And it's just wrong concerning what it is that they believe about this sanctuary, in which they believe that Christ's atonement really mostly took place once he became part of the earthly the sanctuary, the heavenly sanctuary, and that this began in 1844, is when this atoning ministry, the second and last phase of the atoning ministry, is done, in which he cleanses certain sins again in heaven. Nowhere about this is spread in the Bible, and in fact, the thing they go to, which is in Daniel, they try to use for this, actually is referring to what's written down in the apocryphal books of Maccabees, in which Josephus himself in his Antiquities of the Jews also notes. So that's another thing. And then they claim that Ellen G. White, her writings speak with prophetic authority, even though if she's supposed to be a prophet, then we test the prophets. And if you look into her writings, she's made a lot of false predictions, teaches a lot of contradictory things in comparison to the Bible, and even just teaches things that are just ridiculous in terms of things that have actually, what we learn now, have actually almost ended up killing people, like some of the diet commands. She says that it would be that their pastors are demons if they allow the eating of meat and all these other things. But yet there was a girl that was in a third world country that had Seventh-day Adventism in the household, and the doctor said that she needed a certain kind of vitamin that could only be gotten from this certain food that she wasn't allowed to eat, because the Ellen G. White Seventh-day Adventist thing forbid this. And the mother said, "Well, I'm sorry, but I can't do it because, I have to follow what Ellen G. White wrote, because she speaks with prophetic authority. I know that she can't be wrong." So these are three doctrines that are refuted by Scripture, and in fact also pointing it out that some of these aren't even scriptural at all, with some of these Seventh-day Adventists believe. And that's why I would say Zulu is not a Christian, because if he's a Seventh-day Adventist, he is relying on works for his salvation. And there are people who were formerly Seventh-day Adventists I've talked to who can testify that it is a cult, and there's a lot more things that go on than even what they just tell you today. So anyways, that being said, thank you for your question there, Marshall. And Holy Spackle, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Now, can I ask a question this way, or should I go away and like Twitter it? I don't mean to be rude. Like I realize that I might have invaded early.
No. You're good. In fact, this is a perfect time for you to ask a question.
Okay. I'm going to start with a Bible verse, and then I'll follow up with my question. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. So this one's one that we see used a lot. In the Bible, it talks about enemies of God, just various enemies of God, like Old and New Testament. I would say about 30 times, something like that. Like it shows up enough to where you pay attention to it. The phrase "enemy of God."
Mm-hmm.
So when I look up in the oh gosh, I had it pulled up on my phone. This is why you don't do Hangouts on your phone and use it as your Bible at the same time. Stand by 1 second.
Sure.
I want to say that it is in Timothy.
All right. Well, while you do that, I'll make sure to pull up my software.
Okay.
And woo!
It's James. That's James. I'm an idiot. Here we go.
Okay, James.
James chapter 4, verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
It says, "You adulteress, do you know that friendship with the world is hostility towards God? Therefore, whoever wishes to be a friend of the world makes himself an enemy of God." I noticed that a lot of people are throwing this verse out, particularly when you are friendly with somebody that is a non-believer, either someone that they consider a heretic, maybe of a different faith, or an atheist, but somebody that's a non-Christian proper, and they would deem it as an enemy of God. Do you deem all non-Christians as enemies of God?
Well, I would think that anyone that's not for God would be an enemy of his, but I would say at the same time um, that the issue of simply befriending people um, is not necessarily, you know, like there's a concept of understanding concerning the issue of what it means by therefore will be a friend of the world here. So it's the issue of not just simply the people, but also of the ways and its customs. So in other words, it's not just simply being friends with someone who, for example, is a Muslim or an atheist, but it's also a, you know, don't talk back about whenever, you know, someone sins, you know, you don't talk about it. You don't try to wish them repentance or anything like that. You kind of go with the flow of it, which eventually leads you down to, as one part of it says, it can corrupt good judgment or good character, and then it causes you to stumble and sin in that regard. But there are people who are able to be friends with some of these people, and they are very strong in their faith and not compromising. So yeah, well, I would say that there are people that are enemies of God that are unbelievers. That would be the same thing as where we used to be, but then we see reconciliation through God, and that we're in this relationship with Him. And so we should, at the same time, desire that for other people. And if it means that, you know, having a continued conversation with someone that we try to befriend, which then ultimately helps us lead to discipleship, meaning the one-on-one type of, you know, evangelism, and then once they become a Christian, we help train them and study them and how they should go by, you know, helping them with Bible study and all that kind of stuff. You know, then that's a good thing. And I think that's what God would want, because we see this kind of stuff going with other people in this sort of one-on-one discussion. I mean, back then, Paul was an enemy of God. He was part of what was called the synagogue of Satan. And we find that he eventually, after being a part of the synagogue of Satan, he then turns to be a Christian. And he was even, and they told him to, well, forget who was the person itself. Jesus told this person to go and, you know, meet Paul and tell him he has been chosen. And so, you know, you go through all this and you expect people to, you know, change and convert. And this could be done either through open air preaching or any of this kind of stuff, or you can even be friends with somebody and be strong in your faith to the point that, you know, they're like, you know what? I can see and have empathy for why you believe what you believe. And I can affirm that this happens. I have a friend who was agnostic, and recently he converted to Christianity, and even got a Bible in the mail. So that I think it would have, part of me kind of helped out with that. I don't know for sure what was going on through his life or what helped him through that, but I would think that, you know, anytime you get a chance to be there, you help plant a seed a bit. So I know it's not necessarily part of the question you asked, but I do want to at least emphasize that, because as you mentioned, there's some people that use this to just try to say don't be friends with the non-believers or any of that, but also realize that while it says you know, that they would be enemies, the Bible says to love your enemies. And what better way to love them than to get with them and talk to them about the gospel and be strong in your observation of your faith.
So how do you balance that with I'm just curious how you do it. How do you balance the, you know, Great Commission and friending people, and, you know, sitting with the tax collectors and the prostitutes, friending people with the Great Commission? Do you feel like you sincerely love people for the good that's in them, or do you love only because you're obligated to love?
I would say that you can love them for knowing the fact of who they are as human beings, and that you're each unique and all that kind of stuff. Like you may find like there's a good discussion I would suggest, and that is between a discussion that Vocab Malone posted on his channel, in which he discusses this kind of topic. Christians and atheists, should they be friends? Basically, is what the discussion was about, and this took place at a church with him and two other atheists, and they just engaged in a discussion on while they have differences, can still be friends, and why a case can be made for that. So I think it's quite interesting that why you can have you like Transformers, or you like comics or anime or something like that, but at the same time, then you can be like, oh wow. At the same time, I can still intermingle and witness or give my testimony or act the Christian life. Let people see the light shine in me as I go walking in the Lord. So so yeah, I mean, I just find it difficult and hard to understand when people try to use this to say don't befriend people, even though it's possible that the person you may be in your household or your family that may be that and we can still love them and be kind to them. That way we can show them grace and mercy that ultimately is what we should be reflecting. Helps them turn to Christ if they were not that to begin with.
Probably follow up with more questions, but I don't want to take up your whole show. So, but I appreciate your time.
Okay. I'm gonna have to be cleaning this cup later because now seeing some of the I don't know what it is. It's not mold, but something has been forming.
That's scary.
It's fine. It won't kill me. All right, so let's check a look at some of the people in the. Oh my goodness! And we have Ronald Deal back again. Okay, let's ask this question because we know it's going to be ridiculous before we continue. Do you believe that Russell Nelson worships Satan? Again, these people you keep saying, I don't even know who they are. Let's take a look. Okay, Russell Nelson. Former surgeon who current president of the LDS Church. No, I believe he worships a false god, but I don't believe that he's worshiping Satan. I mean, you can worship a false god without worshiping Satan. So, yeah. Okay. That being said, let's see what else is in the chat. I'm surprised we don't got much people here in the on the Hangouts. I've added a lot of people, so at least 15. So we'll just see where that goes. Not much that I've been able to do really, because apparently the preparation term has been difficult, and a lot of people have just not been able to join these shows as much. So been trying to hopefully get things back and going, and maybe, who knows, with the ask. Oh yeah, like I said back last week, I will not be here next week for Ask Christian Anarchist 77 because I will be over at Baton Rouge for Louisiana. So if you want to see me there, also feel free to go ahead and go there, and now you'll find me there. Oh my goodness. Okay, now then, Ronald Deal, do you believe any false religion worships Satan? Yeah, there's a Satanist, the theistic kind, not the atheistic kind. Yeah, I believe there are some that do worship Satan, but not all of them worship Satan. I think that's a general generalization. And to me, that would basically to say that Mormonism or that Mormons worship Satan is to commit the sin of lying at that point, because we know very well what it is they actually are trying to worship. Lucas, what's up, CA? What's up, Lucas? Ryan Taylor, should Christians get tattoos? I'm kind of divided on the issue. I personally wouldn't recommend it, because I would say that if you want to get a tattoo, at least make sure it's not something of honoring the dead, because that's one of the things that definitely don't mark yourself in honor of the dead. The Bible is quite clear on that. So just something that's not of that. But also, I personally would say don't get a tattoo, period, because that's going to stay on your body. And then you got that stuff that's in you. I just personally wouldn't do it. But I see that there's also some people that say that it's fine to get it, just as long as you don't do it of anybody that's like dead and you're honoring the dead person. Don't do that. Yeah, like as Ronald Deal says, you're not supposed to make any cuttings on your flesh for the dead. So don't do it for the dead or in honor of those who are dead, because that was an ancient pagan practice, and as a result, it's sort of kind of a condemnation of that. I was a Christian before, and one of my tattoos was for my son. Would you consider that okay? Oh, I would say if your son was alive, then yeah, I would have saying that was fine. That would have been okay. Ugh, man, I'm tired. Okay, and I got one guy that's asking for the link that I'll have to try to get to. So let's see how this goes. We're slowly building up on people here. I don't know why, for some odd reason now, my some of the things on here are saying it's like unknown. I don't know why. All right, and I still realize I have the screen up. Okay, that's done. Okay, add Dorian Gray in here. We'll see on it. Okay, All right. All right, let's see any other questions here. I kind of want to watch, but I kind of don't care anymore. Help? Pin Valentine asks. You kind of want to watch, but you kind of don't care anymore. There's the problem. You're obsessed with me, and it's quite clear to see. Sorry that my good looks are that amazing, but hey, don't be distracted. Do your thing. Get a job. Make sure you're doing well, taking care of people. That's all I can say for anyone who has a similar question, like Mr. Pin Valentine, who wants to watch, but at the same time doesn't care anymore. So there you go. All right. Ronald Deal. Okay. Gonna let y'all know anytime we get a interesting question, it's always going to be from the good old Ronald. So let me just quickly make this real quick. He's asking for the link. All right, there we go. All right, so Ronald Deal asks, do you believe Jews worship a false god? After you've heard, you know what I believe. I don't even think you would need to ask that. So yeah, I would say that it's of them worshiping a false god. Is full preterism heresy? I mean, I don't even know what the hell. What does that even mean? Full preterism? I mean, is there a halfway preterism? I don't know. I mean, probably I would say full preterism, in my opinion, is heresy. I would say that. Yes or no? Do Jews pray to a false god? I already answered your question. Yes, they pray to a false god. I mean, you want me to answer it again for you? Or what? Alright. Let me make sure that the link's set up. I wonder if one person's going to be joining us. The guy that was talking about that was part of the furry group. Foxler is what his name was. He had been involved in the group, and we kind of just been kind of in and out of it. So I don't know. We've been talking today, and did he say he was gonna watch? I don't know. I mentioned the show. He said he was getting Mountain Time. Let me see here. 7 p.m. Yes. So we'll see if he shows up. Right. Let's see. Yeah, let's go back to the YouTube chat. My goodness, I have so many screens open right now. It's ridiculous. Give me a break. All right, let's see. Okay. And yes, I eat pork. I don't worship a wailing wall like an I don't worship a wailing wall like an autistic pagan. They don't worship a wailing wall. If only the camera was on to show off the face palming I am doing right about now. From comments like this from Ronald Deal. Yes, I eat pork. I don't worship a wailing wall like an autistic pagan. Oh, man. This is what happens when we choose to be, well, I would disagree with Judaism. I don't choose to make lies and just try to downgrade characters here. See, even the other Christian 96, agrees with me here. They do not worship the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem. All right. Let's see here. All right, a little slow because apparently Spackle you said Sparkle, had to leave for something. So we're gonna wait and see if anybody shows up. Wonder if did I add Christian Man? Yeah, Christian Man's in added in the chat thing. So I wonder why he's not coming in here. Because that would be wonderful right now. Is getting that guy involved. Or anyone in here come in, ask a question, and so that way I'm not left hanging. Because I'm trying to also do some stuff right now, but I don't want to just because I have to just keep relying on going to other things. So that being said, let's go to the Discord chat. Just get a few questions in since we need y'all to ask a few more in the chat. Ronald Deal, you are lying because they don't worship the wall. You said they worship the wall, but they don't. Instead, they just do their prayers, and it's against the wall. And so the prayers still are for and toward the God they believe exists, but they don't, honestly worship the one true God because they choose to worship instead the God that they made up. And it's not the wall. It's whatever interpretation they have of the Old Testament as their God. That's what the false God is, not the wall. It's not the wall. And to say it is that they are worshiping the wall, you are lying. You are being deceitful. And I'm seeing more of these interesting memes from, what's this show called? Agretzko, which is hilarious. All right, so let's see here. Oh yeah, I said it was going to Discord. Okay, Slim Jim or Vienna sausages? Slim Jim, of course. Wolves are cool says that. Oh yeah. Oh no, Christian Man then says, which again, Christian Man, get in here. KFC or Popeyes? Oh, that's a good question. Out of the two, KFC for the win. All right. Also, cool asks, what is my most memorable old school song from childhood? Ooh, that's a good question here, isn't it? What's my most memorable old school song? I would say Blitzkrieg Bop by the Ramones. That would be my favorite because while it was from a generation older than me, I was finding it quite interesting. Oh, hold on. Oh man, that hurts. So while it was an interesting song, we kept hearing it in elementary school, middle school, and high school. A song that was from, I think, 1978, 79 or something like that. I know this that's sort of the time that the punk rock scene kind of started off with the Ramones. And there you go. So that would probably be my favorite song that I've had concerning this old school song through childhood. Or you're just wrong, or obviously you would have known what it is they believe if you actually had studied it. Unless you're just being that ignorant of what they affirm and what they supposedly believe. Okay. All right. If y'all got any, I can't really say much because there's not much questions on Discord. Y'all have to in the live chat be the ones asking the questions. Which, by the way, which reminds me to see if the Skype has any request to join in. What the heck? Oh. Well then, I actually got sent an interesting picture from the guys at the Non Sequitur show that I might just use as my thumbnail. I'm kind of impressed that they would take the time to do this. So let me actually go ahead and I'm gonna hold this questions for now, so just that way y'all can and put in y'all's deal there for questions. So let me see here. Image. Wait, was it? Did it go to downloads or did it go to? No, I got it here. Okay, there we go. That way I can show it. So pull that up there. All right, so this is gonna be the new thumbnail for the video that I have on the non sequitur response thing. Non sequiturs questions answered with me with it. Then the shades are back. Thanks a lot, Kyle. Oh boy. Oh, almost forgot. I gotta turn my alarm off so I don't get any sudden bumps throughout the show today. All right. So yeah, that's gonna be the new thumbnail for the video. So CA and the swag glasses return. Okay. CA, what do you make of Genesis chapter 16, verses 11 through 12? Okay. All right, I got some questions in. All right, again, keep them coming, keep them coming, keep them coming. All right, Genesis chapter 16, verses 11 through 12. Let's take a look, and I'll make sure to pull this up. And if I have to take it down, then I will whenever we're done with it. Okay, 11 through 12. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shalt call his name Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction, and he will be a wild man. He will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man. And wait, that is what you said, right? That was verses. Yeah, verses 11 to 12. Okay. And every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in the presence of his brethren. Huh. Well, I mean, the first verse 11 is quite clear, but this one, let's try to check it in the Holman Christian. This man will be like a wild donkey. His hand will be against everyone, and everyone's hand will be against him. He will be live at odds with his brother. I mean, I think it's quite clear what it says right there. You know, it's pretty much like he'll be against people, and that his hand, meaning that he will be the reason why people are against him, because he'll be against everybody else. So pretty much he's kind of like going to be this like enemy type of a person. And in the Targum of Jonathan that John Gill notes, it says that this person is basically like a wild donkey, you know, so that's why we see that he uses that. That he's wild, that he's fierce, he's untamed, not subject to yoke, and he's impatient. And so that's what we're dealing with here in the text, I guess, is that, you know, that's what we see. All right. And we have MJ at MJ Damore.
I need intro music.
Okay. MJ Damore. Ba-ba-da-da. Ba-da-da-da. There you go.
What's up, man?
No, not much. I am bored out of my mind. The G Fuel, unfortunately, has run out of its power on me, so I am.
The G Fuel? What do you mean?
It's actually a drink. It's called G Fuel. It's an energy formula that you mix in with water. Oh yeah.
G Fuel.
Yeah, it's good stuff. The tubs cost a lot, but it's worth it. I mean, I feel a lot of energy once I take these things. Oh yeah, and it's healthy too. It's like got the same amount of kick and energy, like 5-hour energy, but it's all healthy. There's no sugar in it. There's no gluten in it. It's about 25 calories per serving. So it's pretty good stuff. These guys have gone out on the market, and even like video games. I forget. I think esports or something like that. They're the official like sports water for that, or sports drink for that, is the G Fuel stuff.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Do they sell this at like the GNC Vitamin World places?
No, it's only online, and that's what sucks, is that they're sort of still new, but they're taking over the world by storm with their product because it works that well.
I'll have to order some. Wow, thanks, man.
No problem. I think there's doing a thing right now. I think they'll tell you the coupon on there, but if you order something, they'll also or unless you just try it for free, they a little coupon that can give you a three pack for free along with your order or anything like that.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you. I just bookmarked it.
All right. There you go. Another satisfied man.
Because I'm having trouble sleeping lately, and you know, when you're awake, you don't want to be sleepy.
Oh yeah. Well, it also not only helps with like energy for like working out and doing crazy stuff like this, but also helps you keep you focused.
Awesome.
So that's the best part about it. That's why a lot of video gamers love it and drink it, because it helps keep them concentrated and focused when they're either studying or when they're playing games.
Okay. Well, I will segue to my questions here.
Good.
Because I think you are the perfect person for me to go over this with. You are a Calvinist, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. This is perfect. I'm exploring different perspectives of God's providence, and this guy's name is Paul Kijas Helseth. I'm probably butchering his name. I apologize.
Paul Kijas.
He contributed to a 4 Views book on divine providence with Craig Highfield and Boyd. And his view is called, the title of his chapter is called, because they all have a different word for it, God Causes All Things. Mm-hmm. And the person he heavily paraphrases here and kind of relies on is, I can't remember if he's Swedish or Herman Bavinck.
Herman Bavinck.
Bavinck, pardon me. Okay, Bavinck. Is he Swedish? Like Bart?
I think he might be Dutch, but I will have
You're right. That's true. He's Dutch. Thank you. That just rang a bell. Okay. And I guess his Reformed dogmatics were just recently translated, like within the last 10 or 15 years or something like that. So
yeah, all the 4 volumes a bit.
Yes. And I'm finding his this Reformed Calvinistic understanding of providence the most robust that I have ever read. And I wanted to go over 4 footnotes that he has in his chapter, if that's okay, or is that going to dominate too much of the time?
Oh,
I mean, asking permission.
I would just say if you can, like, try to make it as quick as you can, because we got like about an hour and 10 minutes left for the show that's left here. So
okay, I'll skip this first one then. Let me go down here. I'll narrow it down to 2 footnotes. Let me do it like that. Let me just make sure that this won't say anything. Yeah, I'll skip this one too. Okay, so this is footnote number 14, and this is talking about him being the author of evil. And that they get that from the Westminster Confession of Faith, where it says he's not the author of evil. And this will be a lot of clarification, just to make sure I get this right, I guess. So he goes to John Frame. I guess John Frame wrote a book called The Doctrine of God, A Theology of Lordship. And he says, Frame says that there's 2 senses in which the phrase author of evil can be understood. And the first connotes causality of evil and blame for it. And to author evil is to do it. The second sense suggests that God's relationship to the world is like that of an author to a story, and they're going to unpack that. Conceiving of God's relationship to evil in this sense, Frame suggests, provides a way of seeing that God is not to be blamed for the sin of his creatures, for not only does he transcend and rule over the created order, much like an author transcends and rules over the world of his story, but more important, he is the covenant Lord who, as the author of his story, has prerogatives that, while always consistent with his character, nevertheless are far greater than ours. And for this reason, he is not required to defend himself against charges of injustice. This analogy and the sense of authorship that it commends will perhaps make more sense when coupled with the typical Reformed distinction between God as the remote cause and human agency as the proximate cause of sin. While Reformed believers typically insist that only the proximate cause is culpable for sin, because only the proximate cause is the doer of sin, they nevertheless acknowledge that the mechanics of how God can be the efficient cause of sin without actually doing, and thus being culpable for sin, is inscrutable. Calvin, Frame argues, uses the proximate remote distinction not to demonstrate why God is guiltless, but merely to distinguish between the causality of God and that of creatures, and therefore to state that the former is always righteous. Thus, while the proximate remote distinction is useful because it states who is to blame for evil and helps us to conceptualize divine authorship, it does not in itself provide a comprehensive solution to the problem of evil. I was going to run this by you. So I don't know how you feel about the analogy of an author to a story, but I was wondering if maybe I could help Helseth out here and maybe say, and I've thought about this before, do you think it would be appropriate to apply that analogy by saying, like, Okay, so Tolstoy wrote War and Peace, or Dostoevsky wrote Crime and Punishment, or whatever, and that character in Crime and Punishment, Raskolnikov, I think is his name. He murders that person, right? He's the doer of the crime.
Mhm.
But because Dostoevsky wrote about Raskolnikov actually murdering that person in the story, that doesn't thereby entail that the Russian penal system should arrest Dostoevsky, right?
Yeah. Right.
And
No.
that's kind of that's Helseth's point, right? With that author book analogy.
Yeah.
So, if I use that analogy, could Raskolnikov and Dostoevsky still use the concept justice univocally?
Like, what do you mean?
Like what Raskolnikov would mean by justice, like if he's talking about justice within the context of the story, and let's say he says to a character in the story, Dostoevsky is just, would Raskolnikov mean the same thing by justice as Dostoevsky would mean by it?
Oh, I don't know too much about these two males themselves, but I would say that um, based just on the analogy that you gave, um, that if they wrote something about, you know, uh, someone murdering or killing someone, that would make them a part of it, or that it makes them, the author or people that supposedly have done it.
Yeah.
So.
And that goes to what he said right here. He said, they nevertheless acknowledge that the mechanics of how God, I'll say Dostoevsky for God, and the creature as Raskolnikov. I'll just say that. So he says they nevertheless acknowledge that the mechanics of how Dostoevsky can be the efficient cause of the murder without actually doing and thus being culpable for the murder is inscrutable. And do you think that's appropriate to land the inscrutability there? That Dostoevsky would be the efficient cause of the murder in the sense of writing the story, but that Raskolnikov alone is culpable because he actually did the murder, like that?
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, I think I said I don't know too much on the issue of this from the philosophical matter, but I think in terms of a cause, if by an efficient cause, I mean that these things were ordained, like he planned this in the story, then yeah, I mean that's what I would say then by that he would have been that in terms of the efficient cause. But in terms, as you say, I think the man is down to when it's caused, the man himself is doing the action and he's responsible. This character that's written about in the story, and in that story, in that world, the people hold him accountable.
Correct. Yeah.
And he himself recognizes his own actions within that story.
Right. And even though Raskolnikov killed the murderer, and let's say there's a relative of the murdered in the room, it would be inappropriate for that character to say, Dostoevsky, why did you write this? Because he was the efficient cause of the story, but it was Raskolnikov alone who actually did the murder.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and I'm going to ask this: was Raskolnikov the efficient cause of the murder, along with Dostoevsky being the efficient cause? And then I would just invoke Calvin's distinction between remote and proximate causation, like both remote
I'm
and.
just going to say this before you continue. Some of these words, I don't know what you mean when you say them. The proximate cause and
yeah, he doesn't define it. Yeah, the only thing I can get from it, because I mean, he just kind of assumes I know what this means, and he doesn't define this. I guess remote would just mean like down the chain of causes. I guess I wouldn't want to say God pushes over the first domino because that's too aloof and deistic sounding, but he's far away, far removed, whereas proximate would be like right next to it. Like, I guess I'm using spatial terminology, but yeah, I'd have to look that up. But the reason why I asked, I'll segue into the next footnote. That's what I thought. I thought that.
Okay, could you hold that question for a second before we I think because there's a couple of people that have that were asking something earlier.
Oh,
that
cool. Yeah, no
might
problem.
be interesting. Because someone had brought something up. And of course, Ronald Deal says, "Is that a pagan Catholic nun in your thumbnail?" It's a Catholic nun that's mentioned in that thumbnail of one video that I recently posted, but it's not a pagan Catholic thumbnail. Again, if I see one more ridiculous statement like this, I'm going to put you in timeout, my friend. So be calm, behave, be a big boy, put on your big boy pants. Okay. Now, where was that one thing that oh yeah, apparently Galactic Genesis says that apparently if you could try checking Walmart, because it says they sell them at his Walmart. All right. Oh, yeah, someone mentioned something on Discord. I had a great almost 2-hour conversation with a Muslim, and it was very respectful. The question, what should I say when he brings up claims like the Bible has been changed and the Quran is perfect and hasn't been changed? Okay. You want to bring two things up. First, say, yes, the Bible has been changed over time when you have these textual variants, but we have a vast majority of manuscripts as well as the church father quotations and citations, of which we can rely on them for part of that likewise addition of manuscript in terms of quotations and citations from these manuscripts of church father writings versus originally just primary New Testament manuscripts. So we have a lot of this to know what exactly was in the Bible, and we're able to figure out what's there and not. So you have these textual variants, and that's why the modern Bibles these days, don't have what the King James rendering of 1 John 5:7 is. They don't have the woman caught in adultery story because it's not part of the original text. So you easily can see that the Bible is defended there, and it's not based upon the issue of the reliability of, oh, well, it has to be this perfectly unchanged word, which by then that's standard. If they want to make that the argument, go to the Quran. The Quran has textual variants. And in fact, in case you are watching this, and I'll even link this later in the description, there's a video called it's the Crescent and the Sword, or the Sword and the Crescent.
That's a very good book. I recommend that.
No. This is a movie. It's called The Sword and the Crescent by Keith Thompson of Reformed Apologetics Ministries, though now it's called Exegetical Apologetics because the domain name for Reformed Apologetics has given up. And you can go there and you can see a segment in which it talks about the corruption of the Quran, the textual unreliability of the Quran, in which it goes over the manuscripts that it uses, and the fact that earliest even Muslim scholars are noting that some of these Muslim copies differ in the text than the modern Arabic reading you have today. And then you have the different arufs, the different readings, which one's more reliable, because you have some that don't just make the issue of different synonyms or syllable sounds and all that kind of stuff, or all that. But instead, you have words that are taken out, or you have, rearrangement of words. You have all this there. And these are supposed to be today the different roofs, different textual variant readings in terms of that, along with manuscripts. So we have that, and that shows there has been historical changes in the text of the Quran over history. So if they want to do that standard, well, hey, then just bring up that about the Quran. But of course, don't just take my word for it. Do the research yourself and check it out for yourself. And I think there is a book, though, I think it's called The Sword and Crescent or something like that. Oh,
I got it wrong. That was my fault. It's Jesus and the Jihadis confronting the rage of ISIS. That I got the title completely wrong. Sorry.
Well, anyways, there's still something for you. But that being said, check it out, Mr. Berserk Blitz. It's a good book. Okay, so I haven't seen Ronald type anything lately, so I'm going to assume that he listened for once and kind of observed what I said. So hopefully he'll be a good boy. All right. A goat ate some verses of the Quran, according to Aisha. Yeah, one of the hadith did say that a goat ate one of the verses of the Quran, and that was been lost. All right. Is this a call-in type of thing? Only if I know and who you are and can trust you. So you'd have to like really start communicating with me in order to get something. I can't even view your YouTube channel apparently, so that's already given me a sign that says no. For you right at the moment, unless you talk with me on Hangouts or anything like that, then we can talk. But I try to make sure it's a trusted group of people in here, along with just people you can ask questions in the outer chat. Because I don't want people sniping and pouring bombing the place. So don't want this channel to get taken down. Now that being said, let's go back to MJ Damore. No, wait. MJ Damore!
Okay.
Gotta wake myself up somehow.
Almost done. This might be a dead end too. I'll do some more research on what these actual categories mean, as far as the different kinds of causes and stuff. So my bad on that. I should have actually looked this up first. But to set the stage, so this is going to be Bavinck. This is a footnote on a quote from Wayne Grudem's Bible Doctrine, Essential Teachings of the Christian Faith.
Nice.
Where Grudem says, well, I'll lead into the quote. Helseth says, as such, Reformed believers are persuaded that God actively accomplishes all his good purposes, not just by preserving and passively observing what he has created, but also by simultaneously working concurrently with created things, quote, and this is Grudem, to cause them to act as they do, end quote. I'll stop there. And I thought this was really interesting because in the prior footnote, I was assuming that, you know, the approximate and remote causes were both efficient causes, which is why I was asking you that. But then he says this in this footnote, which I thought was extremely interesting. So he says, Bavinck concludes his discussion of concurrence with this helpful summary, quote, in relation to God, the secondary causes can be compared to instruments. And he quotes 4 different verses. I'll come back to that in just a sec. In relation to their effects and products, they are causes in a true sense. And precisely because the primary and the secondary cause do not stand and function dualistically on separate tracks, but the primary works through the secondary, the effect that proceeds from the two is one, and the product is one. There is no division of labor between God and his creature, but the same effect is totally the effect of the primary cause as well as totally the effect of the proximate cause. The product is also in the same sense totally the product of the primary as well as totally the product of the secondary cause. But because the primary cause and the secondary cause are not identical and differ essentially, the effect and product are in reality totally the effect and product of the two causes, to be sure, but formally they are only the effect and product of the secondary cause. So right there, it sounds like Bavinck is saying that creatures aren't efficient causes of their sins. They're only formal causes of their sins. See, now I got to go back to my Aristotle and find out what formal.
Just try to keep it as layman as you can, because, like I said, I'm not too much of the philosopher buff on this.
Yeah, I'll stop there then. I'll come back to your next show. I'm going to look up what these causes mean so I can unpack that in a lay language. I totally understand. That was my fault. I guess I assumed that you were familiar with Bavinck. My bad.
I've heard of the stuff, and I might need to try to read it, because like I tried reading Jonathan Edwards' Freedom of the Will, and my goodness.
Oh yeah, I had to read that. Yeah, that was actually a joy to read. I really liked it a lot.
I could tell from your use of language you would enjoy that one.
Well, I was just reading the footnotes, so that was another guy.
Another thing that I would recommend checking out is, you ever heard of John Frame?
Oh yeah, yeah. He's awesome. I actually met him in graduate
Oh,
school.
I am jealous of you.
Oh, he's a very, very nice gentleman. He's an awesome guy. I like him a lot.
Man. Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, since someone brought this up, yes, May the 4th be with you all, for today is May 4th. So may the 4th be with you. Um, but yeah, I would suggest going online and ordering a copy of the Systematic Theology book by John Frame, because he goes over some of these things in extensive detail about some of these topics that you brought up. I have a copy of the book. It's very huge. It's like 1,000 pages long,
Wow, awesome.
and
I will do that.
and it's yeah. If you like some of the stuff that he has there, you'll definitely love his Systematic Theology and Introduction to Christian Belief. You can get on christianbook.com for the hardcover for $31 basically. So
That's not bad at all. Okay.
especially for a book at that price. Oh yeah.
I'll have to do that because I don't own any systematic theology books, which is unfortunate.
And that one's up to date.
Awesome. Okay. I have Introducing Christian Doctrine, but I have A. Hodge's Outlines of Theology. But other than that, I don't think I really have anything on that, which is not good.
Oh. You can get something. There you go. All right, so let's take a look here. We may.
I'll go ahead and exit the room then. I was just going to go over those footnotes. I appreciate you inviting me on.
Hey, no problem, my friend. Stay you, be awesome.
Yes, sir. All right, take care, sir. Blessings.
Shalom. God bless you. All right. Hopefully, we'll be getting a join in with somebody soon. Somebody who goes by the name of Foxler. Foxler Nightfire, the guy that I mentioned earlier, amongst the controversy that I've gotten myself into lately. I don't know where the English is coming from, where the British accent is from. Oh my goodness, I need to stop talking like this. Okay. There we go. That gets your heart racing right there. Okay. Let's see. And I'm going to probably need to let me see how this works. I'm going to try to. There we go. I can try to somewhat see everything in a two-split thing concerning the all right. It'll still be a little difficult to reach your questions, but this will be perfect. Okay. So yeah, Mr. Foxler will hopefully try. I'm hoping that oh my God, he has blessed us with his presence here on this wonderful evening. Hello, Mr. Well, this profile says Star Fox Ace Fox. I don't know. Could be the most awesome pilot that I've ever met from that title, but it is the Foxler, otherwise known as one of the members of the Furry Raiders. Welcome in the building.
Well, thank you very much. Actually, I'm also the founder of the group.
Well, we learn something new every day, folks. There's the facts right there for you. Fact provided by Furry Raiders. Anyways, welcome to the show. You are the third person that's come into here, which this has been usually the lowest in terms of attendance inside the actual studio, but we still at least got at least 15 of y'all watching at this point, so I'm not complaining too much. But until then, hey, we got some very interesting wolf in the house. Or what are you Wolf Fox? I'm
a Corsac fox.
A what?
A Corsac fox. Found in northern Asia.
So you're Asian?
Technically, yes.
I thought I saw something
from Thailand. So yeah, you could classify me as a rice-eating, bad-driving Asian.
I'm trying not to laugh too much at that.
Well, I'm only half Asian, so I'm only half a bad driver half the time. But I've been suspended maybe 7 times on my license, so.
Well, this is awesome. You are probably the second or third furry that I've had also come on to the show as well. I've had a Skyrim skunk, and I forgot who the last one was before that. But you are certainly and especially with what is that software? Because I know a guy that used a similar thing, but he was a flying sandwich last time.
Face rig.
Face rig. I might need to invest in that because it might be interesting what I could do with that instead of just looking at this. Because I think people are tired of looking at this face for so often. It's not exactly the most prettiest of faces.
It's all right.
Christian 96 in the chat says, "You are not Goku Black, no Brit." What? I'm not Goku, no Black, no British. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh, I get so excited. I almost forgot. Do you have a question in particular?
What, me?
Si, senor. But for also mentioning, if anyone might have a question for Foxer, might want to add a special occasion, allow you to get a question.
I don't have any questions. I just know that I'm here. I was given a link, and it's time to run my mouth again, and then everybody freaks out when I do it. So,
well, hey, that's what happened to me today on Twitter, as you have seen.
Yeah, that was special. There was some special in there, and then I saw a really wacky tweet just a few moments ago, which I quoted on. Apparently, furries are demanding that they have their rights. So it's.
Don't y'all already have that?
Like, well, no, it's like, oh, now they need that vote, that democratic vote. I gotta have my furry rights. And I'm just like, wait, didn't you guys just bitch last week that there was too many politics in the fandom? Oh.
Well,
it's like that kid that sticks his hand on a stove and burns it, and then he complains it hurts, and then he goes back and does it next week. It's like, autistic lollipop much?
Yep. By the way, just he says that for anyone that may feel offended by that, I'm autistic, so I don't feel any offense at this point. So
I don't even know where I am on any spectrum, but I just do.
I don't think anyone does. Like it's that broad. I mean, Einstein was certainly autistic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm supposedly, have ADD and OCD and all this labels, and I'm just like, hey, as long as I'm making money, I don't give a hell what problems I have.
I like you were careful there with your tongue, Bert. That's clever of you. I like that. Like ya. So, and that's not the only one saying this too. Apparently, we got someone named Sister Hipster in the live chat that says, "quote I like this guy." So you are now developing some fans. Among my own fan base.
Eventually, they're gonna be asking for my number, and then I'll be like, "Oh, what you doing tonight?"
I already have that same problem. Trust me, you don't want that. You don't.
Oh no, I already have it too. I mean,
Besides, what about Cody?
Raiders,
Yeah. Someone had a question for you though. Why don't rabbits wear glasses?
I have no idea. I assume they have. I mean, didn't the rabbit in what's that movie?
Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah, didn't he wear one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or unless they're like the hipsters these days where they like poke the lens out and they just put them on and it's for fashion, but not really for like seeing.
Hipsters. That's a whole nother problem right there.
Like your outfit, by the way.
Oh, what I'm wearing here? Oh shit. Yeah.
Totally.
I would have gotten in my whole fursuit, but seeing we only had like 45 minutes, I was like, maybe next time.
Maybe next time. That'd be a good idea, actually. I'm already trying to get a Dojo Dingo for a discussion on Introduction to the Furries, but I think also at some point later on, I'd like to have you on for the Theological Discussion podcast to go over some stuff if you're interested.
No, I'm totally down. No, I know Dojo pretty well. He's a pretty level-headed dude.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's how I learned about this. I guess how I got slightly into this whole thing is because the person that was mentioned, Dog Patch Press is because I know some of the things that went on with him between those two, and then I saw the whole statement with Cody, and then I just decided to voice my opinion on that, which sometimes
Well,
I put
you did, and then everybody jumped on you and said, "No, don't do that." And then you're just like, "Well, show me the evidence." And then they're like, "But." I'm like, "There's no buts. Where's the evidence?"
Exactly. I just do what we call in our circles here presuppositional apologetics, or to some people the Socratic method. I just ask questions to gain knowledge, and I think that's a rational thing to do. But
yeah,
apparently,
asking questions is important. Google can't solve all your problems, and if you think Google can solve all your problems, you're in the wrong place. So yeah, ask questions, because there is knowledge that is not on the internet yet still.
Yeah. So
like reasoning.
Yeah. So the guy that asked you that question, he said the correct answer is because they eat a lot of carrots.
Oh, that's actually an answer to it? Holy cow. I mean, I've been around rabbits in more one way than the other. Just like, I've never been told that. I've been around plenty of rabbits, especially in the furry fandom.
Yeah.
Never had that one.
All right, so we're going to have to, unfortunately, be getting some guy out of the chat, because I told him, you make any more of this weird comments that you would be out of here. We have let me see what's the latest from Ronald Deal that was mentioned. Do you believe that the Talmud is more racist than Mein Kampf? Right, and for that, we're putting you in timeout. Sit in the corner. You got 300 seconds according to YouTube. Think about what you've done, Mr. Dealo. I mean, we're asking for serious questions here, and you brought up some Seventh-day Adventist pastor. Does he worship Satan? Again, like, don't just ask stuff that just is out of nowhere and try to be smart with me. If you're gonna ask a question, at least be genuine instead of trying to repeat at the same time, even though I've answered it already. And we'll see where that goes, Mr. Senior.
Sounds like trolling it.
Oh, you won't believe some of the guys I've gotten in here. It's not just simply some of the left guys or the atheist left guys. We get like some crazy conspiracy type of people out there. And I say this as I'm acting paranoid, looking around for cockroaches, because they've been pretty bad in my house as of lately. Which flashback to the one podcast where I spent like 5 minutes trying to hunt down a cockroach on live broadcast.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. Yeah, I don't understand the whole why so many people have these conspiracy theories that just doesn't seem to relay in the same direction of reality. The government is not spying on everybody, and there's probably not intelligent life in the rest of the universe, so we can all be done with that and move on.
There you go. By the way, love them glasses.
Yeah, well, that's the best thing I could find, a slap on his face. I mean, I do wear glasses in real life, and my persona does too. So, but unfortunately, trying to find glasses that fit a fursuit head is a challenge.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I tried to wear pants on my fursuit. That did not happen. No matter, even if I went to like super extra large, like size 50 or something waist, it did not work because of my digigrid legs.
All right, so checking the Twitter, we got a question, of course, from our usual on Twitter, of Silver Reploid CLE, asking for a hashtag AskCA, when did you first listen to Twisted, and what was your first song you loved? Twisted was like from a while back when I was listening to it, and I guess the first song that I had to have listened to it was what's that song? It was popular. It's their motto, the anthem. We Till We Die or something like that was something I heard, and it was like a lot of action, like fast type of rapping, especially with what's his name? Madrox going down like this with his voice. And I'm like, wow. So that was the first time I was introduced to Twisted, was that song, and especially that style of rapping. I'm trying to actually incorporate that into some of my own rapping. So thank goodness I found one of the weirdest horrorcore ICP kind of guys that I found, because those guys were certainly interesting, and especially now, if you look at their career now and some of the stuff they got now, oh my goodness, it's definitely weird and bizarre that they have. But of course,
sounds like my German rap I listen to.
You got German rap, my friend. I listen to German metal. I like.
Oh yes.
Yes. You listen to Rammstein?
Oh yes, and many others. I can't name them off the top of my head because I'm not really good with German words.
Question. Du hast mich?
I don't hate you.
What the heck? Oh, Seth and Presley says, help, I stopped. Maybe you can offer some help on this. Help, I stopped petting my dog, and now she is just staring at me. What does that possibly mean?
You just got done petting your dog, now it's staring at you. It's like, why'd you stop, motherfucker? It's like when you get a back massage from someone, and you're like, when they stop for a second, like, wait, keep going, a little higher.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that could have been like I think it was like 14 or 15 years old. Well, we have a lot of language in this house, so I don't know. We can't control what goes on out in the filters, but at the same time, we're also in America. While I don't personally like the language, at the same time, I also like freedom of expression. So feel free to express yourself if need be. Just also keep in mind some of the people, but also. Oh wait, what's the word that what they do on those little medicine commercials or whatnot? Follow. Remember, the words that may be expressed on the show do not necessarily reflect the views of this viewer. Also, make sure to buy my new CD coming out about 2 weeks. There you go, something like that. I don't know. I'm out of G Fuel, but I'm still acting like I'm on something. I'm not going to say drugs, but maybe something similar.
Something similar.
No. Again, I'm going to probably just do another shameless promotion of this. If you ever need something to get you going in the day, get yourself some G Fuel, my friend.
I have no idea what that is.
It's a healthy energy formula. It's not like energy drinks. It's more healthy for you. It's sugar-free, gluten-free, and 25 calories per serving. So it's obviously healthy to some of the people, and it works like 5-hour energy. It keeps you going, not just in energy, but also keeps you concentrated and focused in the tasks you're doing. And so it's and they have a lot of flavors like strawberry shortcake, iced peach tea, rainbow sherbet. I mean, they are all over the place with flavors.
Well, that sounds pretty good. Interesting. I mean, I worked with companies that work in the dietary industry, so I've seen all types of health crazes, and I'm just like overwhelmed. So maybe there's a better alternative.
Yeah, there you go.
Shoving like 40 pills in yourself every day.
Oh, I remember those days. All right, so reminder to the people that are watching on the stream, we got about what is it? 35 more minutes before we go off air for the show, and we possibly take this over to there's the British. There's the British again, and we take this over to Discord. At least it's better than me doing my Grail voice from Black Butler. That because that'd be something. And I'm tempted to do it, but I would like to just see how much of this I can handle without going on for what we got. All right. So far, no questions. So, like I said, y'all keep bringing the questions on, except for Tom, because he's asking the same question that Ronald did.
No questions? Surprise! Well, I mean, what's your? See, we never did like a pre-review before I jumped in, so I have no idea what your kind of viewer mindset is. So, like, I can
Well-
assume they know what furries are. I can assume.
Well,
that
I
you-
did introduce them to the controversy I got in, like in the very beginning of this show, like the whole thing that went down. And when I stood up or tried to, make not necessarily stood up, but like kind of call out somebody due to their accusation against Cody, in light of the history of this person. And so then that's what gets me on, being rambled with a bunch of just, instead of engaging in debate and dialogue that's actually enlightened and intelligent, it's just more ad hominem or insults, rather than anything.
Yeah, you're apologizing for Nazis. You're such a Nazi. Yeah, that I see. I've seen way too much of that. Like, it's actually brain damaging at this point. And yeah, surprisingly, I'm the guy that is the reincarnation of Hitler, supposedly, at this point, based on other people's theoroids.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh,
But
it
you
even makes
like the mustache.
no, I don't. Actually, I only wear one specific type of facial design, and that is the same one. What's that musician? I can't remember for the life of me. He's German, and he likes to do these kind of like triangles on each side of his chin, which is pretty cool looking.
What the? What?
I'm
I'm
trying.
curious about that now.
Yeah, no, I have to look it up now. Seeing all this, it's like, oh wait, I'm talking about something and I don't remember for the life of me because I don't keep tabs of this shit. I think it's the band's name is Unhealing or no, that can't be right. So
Yeah, I'll have to go
the lead singer is he's got a pretty good style.
What you asking about, like the audience view or something like that? You were saying, or
Me?
yeah.
No, I wasn't.
Oh, now I see what you mean by that. Oh my, that's like interesting under chin.
Yes.
Not bad, especially if you can pull that style off in today. But no, like yeah, this whole thing we got going on here called Ask Christian Anarchist is basically like a very amateurish type of attempt at being, like one of those, you got a question, I hopefully can answer it, and type of things. And it's, when I started this whole thing off, it's basically about, Christian apologetics kind of stuff. You got a question about the Bible or anything like that, I'll definitely be able to answer that. And to the degree it is that today, and had a few of those questions earlier.
Oh, okay.
But I do also allow, like, I'm also a voice actor too. So voice acting tips, because that's partially why those voices keep coming, because I got all kinds of things. Like, I'm Vegeta in a Dragon Ball Super abridged thing that's going on. And so you got the, oh, this is my Vegeta voice, and I'm so angry at everything, especially my disappointment of a son. And I got that going, so hopefully try to offer advice, which also is why if you saw on Twitter where it says coming soon to Louisiana on my Twitter handle,
yeah,
that's in about a week. I'm going there for a panel, which is also, for part of that is to do a Ask Christian Anarchist live event over there, and hopefully also spread things about the news about the abridged series that's going on as well.
Nice. I mean, I'm not a big anime fan, but
we'll turn you into one.
I was there a long time ago. When Inuyasha came out, Outlaw Star, and all those good classics. But
oh yeah,
I don't know. I never liked the art style. Never have. They could do better.
Yeah.
That's just me. But that's just me. I'm more, I like more of a traditional style, kind of a 1950s, 1960s retro kind of style, But, we don't see that anymore. That's a dead art in itself. So
they apparently turned a meme into an anime now.
Are you kidding me? What meme is this?
If you look up something called Pop Team Epic, it's something where it's basically like these little two schoolgirls, but they are pretty much like in random situations. They're just, I mean, I'm literally telling you, they're just like completely random. Like for example, what happens? First of all, the meme was a comic thing where it's a girl who walks into a store and says, I'm of course going to censor myself on this, because that was the weird thing about it. It's like this girl that's supposed to be cute, small, has little, 3 smiley face thing, and goes in and asks for a hamburger. And so the woman then says, no, 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 you're mispronouncing it. It's hamburger. And so you just see the girl staring at her before she points over, still smiling, saying, so, oh, that means you mother, and then you fill in the rest. It was just like completely random and vulgar, and now it turned into an actual anime.
Oh my gosh.
Where they go on random adventures. Like at one point, one of them is hiccuping, and it says, if you hiccup 100 times, you die. It's like, I'm at 99. It's like, oh, well, it's like, I'll just self-destruct just to be safe. And then she blows up the whole world by somehow having the power to self-destruct.
Almost reminds me of Fooly Cooly when that was pretty random.
Oh, yeah.
Story on that one.
Speaking of which, did you hear that the second season's coming out?
No. I don't keep on top of that.
Yeah. Well, there's something for an old school. It seems like even the same people in the same old school style, they have are releasing the second season of Fooly Cooly, which is apparently in a different town, in a different setting, but the same kind of scenarios there, like the robots that come out of people, and it's with different teenagers, but you still got the pink-haired girl that shows up there with her guitar.
Yeah,
ready to cause, man.
I might have to look into it. I mean, the last anime I ever watched was Desert Punk, and then I just kind of floated into furry hell after that. So,
well, there you go. All right, let's take a look at some of the questions you guys have gotten in the chat. Of course, I'm ignoring Tom because if you want to really answer your question, I haven't read the Talmud, so I can really make a comment on it, whether or not if it's more racist than Mein Kampf or anything like that. I don't even read Mein Kampf, so I can't make a statement regardless. So,
well, there you go. Let's see. There's your answer, Tom.
There you go. All right, so let's see here. Reincarnation. Not a fan of it. Ken McCracken. How do you interpret Genesis 1, 2, 3? Okay. I would say Genesis 1 is can be somewhat seem poetic, but I still see a sense of evolution being depicted in there based on the verses like what it says, God said, let the earth bring forth these things, right? So it's a divine command to the earth. And that's just telling you a general thing. Genesis 2 then gets more detail onto it. But by focusing on only one event on one specific day, then Genesis 3, well, you have that story that goes on. I'm pretty sure it can speak for itself. Let's see. Anything else? Oh, great. Here's another one from Tom that might be interesting. What the? Oh, you might have competition here. Tom says, do you believe that I am a reincarnation of Hitler because I don't believe the Holocaust happened?
What, is that what Tom is saying about himself?
Yeah, he says he believes that he's the reincarnation of Hitler because he doesn't believe the Holocaust happened.
Oh.
And you're usually the one accused of being the reincarnation of Hitler.
Yeah, I know. Well, Tom, I would have to say that I don't believe you're the reincarnation of Hitler, and you can deny like anything you want, but at the end of the day, everybody's gonna have their opinion and their viewpoints and their own reality. So, if it didn't happen for you, that's great. At least you don't have to worry about a whole bunch of people being dead. That's one way to look at it.
There you go. So, thank you for your question. And again, like the other guy, we're going to put you in timeout. It'll only last for 300 seconds. So if you're a good boy in those times, I'm sure you'll be able to come up with something in the meantime. And Sister Hipster, make sure you give him some treats. And as you said, when you said he needs meds, maybe he's dropping some meds.
He needs meds.
Are you
Oh.
enjoying yourself so far here?
Oh, that's all right. Yeah. I mean, I may not be well versed in Christianity, so do lack my I do apologize for my lack of knowledge, but you know, I'm sitting here like, okay, well, this is different.
Oh yeah, definitely different. It usually has more people in here, but I guess I didn't get a chance to get as much people reached out to about this yet. For today, I mean, you can go back in the past streams and you'll see that, you know, I've got some people, and I have no idea anymore what's going on. I mean, like I'm under the lot. Yeah, you got Jerd controversy in where I'm from. Apparently, rumors are being spread that I'm gay because when someone tried to ask me that, I ended up stuttering because I asked this. He asked me this question multiple times, and I got frustrated, and I just, you know, stumbled. And so,
are you gay? And then stutters. Maybe no.
No.
Oh, I mean, even if I'm, you know, here's the funny part. A lot of people that think about furries think, you know, every furry is a homosexual and all that. Well, me personally, even so, I am dating a guy. I'm really fucking straight. Like I'm pretty straight. And the only reason I swing in different gender directions because you got to wear a fursuit. Like I won't sleep with a dude if he's not wearing a fursuit. So that's where the confusion starts lying with furries, is that we have this really dynamic sexuality.
So what I'm gonna be like that one person that Jordan Peterson then talked to. So what you're saying is furries is actually a sexual orientation.
I don't want to take it that far because then, you know, everybody's going to demand their rights. It's more of an interest, probably a fetish. So I have a fetish for people in fursuits, if that makes sense.
Well, I may not be too much on the fetish or the, because I even got some guys that I'm friends with that on that same thing. You know, might disagree with that, but I mean, hey, doesn't mean we still can't be friends, at least.
No, yeah, understandable. I mean,
and
you know.
and Galactic just corrected me. It was Kathy Newman who I was just trying to be right there.
So I think you know, everybody wants to accuse someone of something, but you know, the point is that you know yourself more than anybody else. So.
So someone which I sent Remy the link to join. Or added him in here. So I don't. Wait, did I? Yeah, I did. So if he wanted to join, he's in the chat saying, "I'm into the furry art, but not the cosplay." And so I mean, I guess that's kind of me almost. I'm not, you know, I can't understand why people would want to put on a very hot suit that will make you start sweating within like 15 to 20 minutes as soon as you put it on, especially you, because I'm pretty sure it must be hot in that suit.
Yeah, especially when you're in the middle of Hawaii walking on a beach with it. That's a mistake waiting to happen, but
I'd imagine.
But in a sense, that I think the reason, I mean, I was never big into fursuiting until I actually got one, but some of the reasons is that obviously is to play that identity that you build. And obviously my persona is an identity I created 18 years ago, and it's part of me at this point. So if I could, you know, live it and actually play it, you know, that's a bonus. So I think that's the reason why the fursuits is a pretty popular thing. It's not everybody's not on board, obviously, because the cost, it is extremely hot to be in one of those. It's an inconvenience at the end of the day, but if it makes you happy, then that's why people do it. And for me, it makes me quite happy to do it, and in many ways than others, you know. So
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, if you can do it and you're able to express yourself within that style, I guess. I mean, all for you. I mean, I'll just stick to some of the furry art that's out there, and I'll at least appreciate some of the cosplay people that put on or do the fursuit, because that takes some guts and a lot of water, I guess, or H2O afterwards to do
Yeah,
all.
a lot of headless lounge time where you sit and have to cool off and then jump back and do it again. But hopefully, you know, furries are pretty innovative, and hopefully we can come up with a way to solve this heating issue.
True, good point. And
Yeah.
welcome, by the way, the guy who mentioned the thing about the art and the cosplay thing. Remy, how are you doing, my favorite Canadian?
Better and better.
Median, huh?
He's a good old Remy from the good old state of, or yeah, I'll just say state, the state of Canada. You're from the English-speaking part of the French.
Oh, I failed French long ago.
Do y'all have poutine where you are? Because I know that's in Montreal, I believe, is where the poutine
It's
is.
where it originated, but it's all over Canada and some parts of America.
Is it any
Oh,
good?
yeah.
Is it any good? Because I've been wanting to consider driving down there just so I can try
Yeah,
poutine.
it's essentially French fries or crisps, as some people might call it, or home style. It doesn't matter as long as it's a sliced variation of potato, covered in gravy with cheese curds, usually mozzarella, but it's your choice of which kind of cheese you want to put on it. And some people can put beans in it, bacon,
Beef.
beef or pulled pork. You know, yeah.
Okay, well, when we end this hangout, I'm going to drive over there just to get some poutine right now.
It's essentially a French fry stew.
Yeah. When I first saw it, because I live here in Fort Collins, Colorado, and they have a couple shops that do it, and I was like, dude, this looks like college food. What the hell?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised New York Fries, the franchise, it is. I'm surprised they haven't done it yet. Maybe they have. It's been years since I tried there.
Well, I know a couple fast food joints are trying to make, kind of knockoffs. I know Arby's got their little loaded fries things.
Yeah, we have Arby's up here too.
Yeah, so they have their kind of version of it. It's not so it depends.
Mind you, I'm upset at Arby's for going lean meat. It takes away from the flavor for some reason.
Lean meat.
Yeah, they're trying to make it more healthy because they got to compete with McDonald's.
So when it comes to the furry thing, to some extent, I guess I've been a furry-ish kind of person by, as an audience member, I guess we call it that, since '98.
Oh dang!
When I was in near the end of my high school. So yeah.
No, I can understand. I started in 2000, but I was like 13 years old when that happened.
I was 17, maybe 16, on there. And so, no, I in my odd moments, I have actually stumbled across a few questionable sites with showing two men dressed up in suits of sorts, and you're supposed to imagine they're actual animals, and I'm sorry, I just can't get over seeing two men wearing cotton and whatever else. It's just two guys. It's just two guys in a costume to me.
No, I get what you're saying. I mean, I've archived almost everything furry related until 2011, and I was actually last week I was going through it with the Raider group, some old videos of stuff like that from the early 2000s, and yeah, there's some cringe in there. I'm not gonna lie. It's gotten better, but I mean, I understand it's two guys in a costume, but it depends. If you're in the fantasy, if you live in that fantasy, then that's not what you see. You see somebody else as that animal. Like I see my mate Cody, he's a blue wolf, so I see a blue wolf. I don't see a dude wearing a blue wolf head and has black skin and yeah. I need to go into more detail about that.
Yeah. Well, apparently it's gone as extreme as an overweight woman several years ago saying that she's actually a cat in a human body, and she actually says that she'll squat and use the and she'll meow and she'll clean herself, and I'm like, yeah, but you still use the toilet and you still eat like a human. You still, I'm sorry, but you're just all of these weird, genders that are coming out today. I'm sure some of them sound legitimate, but most of them, we're just being expected to play pretend with them. So it includes some of these furries. Like, I don't mind the people, you want to wear the ears and put a tail on your back. It's fine.
I've done the thing where I put a tail on the back of my pants before.
Yeah, but as soon as you start telling people you must, refer to me as, this cat,
the ultimate black wolf slayer.
That's when I've got to be like, yeah, there's a psychosis for that somewhere.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the whole species dysphoria thing started going on. People were modifying themselves, and then they wanted to be presented in a certain way. It's like, no, you're demanding too much at this point.
Yeah, there was actually something I saw about that that's even more extreme than what Remy just brought up. There was the thing about what the heck? This is the direction SCA has gone in. Well, I mean, we definitely had an interesting conversation, and plus, I don't see much more questions. So, I mean, technically, y'all are to blame for that. You guys in the live chat, and there's 12 of you. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, I could actually sort of touch upon Christianity with it.
Okay.
Here, back in 2006, I believe, I tried drawing something risque.
Okay.
But it was somewhat homosexual, and the Holy Spirit got a hold of me when I finished it after I posted it on a site called Fur Affinity. And I took it down a week later, and apparently I had a fan in 1 week who liked it, wow,
that's how quick it is.
And so I posted in my journal saying, yeah, I removed my art because, my faith has just, changed, convinced me to take it down. And some guy came on and used colorful language. And I, yeah, I told, in my journal, I mentioned I was a Christian, so I must take it down. And so.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so what's your question on that? Because I do got something I want to go into about that, but just want to make sure, that you at least get a chance to ask your question involved in that.
Not me. I was just bringing it up.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, I know what he's talking about. A lot of furries seem to get butthurt when you bring up religion.
Oh, yeah. There's something interesting that brings that up. I know someone on Twitter who goes by the name of Alexia the Rook. By the way, she's the one who's responsible for the CA is the new Disney princess meme. You can thank her for that happening in the drawing as well. So yeah, she has a thing on her Twitter. She has the cross on there and says that she's a woman. She says she's a suitable for work artist. She makes sure to keep that there, and even has a rule list for her commissions that, no yaoi, no yuri, no explicit stuff. And she makes it clear that definitely it's part of the faith that she has. Now, some people will probably lean towards some sort of a sway, even though it's not necessarily explicit or NSFW entirely, but still has some sort of leniency, but they could still do the yaoi and the yuri because they realize it's some part of the work and they're just doing it out of that. But there are people that also have convictions, and what Apostle Paul calls about in Romans 14 is, the weak people that some people can eat this kind of meat, but others can't. And you eat it in front of them, it kind of weakens them in the faith. So have some courtesy for these people. In the same way, there's some people that just can handle doing there are people that can handle doing the yaoi and the yuri and all that kind of stuff, I guess. I know one guy who's sort of done that, and he's a Christian that we've talked to, and he's in the brony community. But there's also that one girl, and I think the same thing with you. You were an artist, and you had a conviction. You had a fan that you gathered, but at the same time, he should at least respect you as the artist, and your artistic freedom should go flow with what you desire to draw and what your convictions hold you to, not based on how they demand of you. Because at that point, then you're not really the artist. It's them that's trying to, you know, work you and tell you what to do. And that's not how any sort of artistic freedom should be done in any way. It's not how the movie should necessarily be done. It's not how the artwork should be done, how the book world should be done, or the cosplaying world or the voice acting world should be done for, okay, just how you do this, how you do this. It's if you're the one that's doing the artistic freedom and how you approach this, you got to go for it on your own. And so that's, I don't know if you're still doing the artwork, but even then, whether you or anybody else listening, that's my advice in respect to that.
Absolutely. Amen on that.
Amen.
No, I ticked myself off with my art because I don't know, you know, where to start placing the pencil on the paper. And, you know, when I start drawing one part, like say it's the head, and then I usually get the arms wrong or the spine wrong or the size or the bulk of the body, and I just start throwing it out.
Yeah.
And when I get it right, I'm proud of it, and then find out I shouldn't have done it, and I throw it out, and it's There have been a few times where I got applauded by friends. Like one time I drew my front porch long time ago, and my roommate
nice
was astonished for it. Anyways.
Well, good stories, man. I mean, I would like to see some of those arts next. Any chance you can share those with me someday?
I don't think I have any except for what I did in grade 10, but
Maybe it's time to pick up a pencil again.
Yeah.
This event was predestined to occur so that you would take back art again, my friend. Good old Calvinist jokes we enjoy doing here. And Sister says she does more anthros than furries. Is that the same thing, or is there a difference between that? I just want to make sure.
Furry is more of a broad statement for it. Anthropomorphized is more of, you know, a humanized or made to look like something that is not animalistic, to behave or you know, or to resemble something that is not purely animalistic or beast-like, you know, because then it would be, because then the art in the furry fandom is called if it's like an actual cat or a tiger or a wolf walking around on all fours, that's usually called feral.
Mm-hmm. Well, you could also say that furry is just just another terminology used for a community of people of interest, of anthropomorphic.
Yeah.
So
I was actually thinking about what she said. She said, because I thought, you know, what you mean, like Thundercats, and then, you know, she literally just said next was think Thundercats. Okay. So yeah,
like a lot of people who are anti-furry, who beat up kids or whatever because they're furry, or they have something even simple as something on their shirt or their backpack. Most of these people through the last 6 decades forget that the majority of these people who are anti-furry adored or fell in love with something from Disney, which is usually starts from Robin Hood, the fox.
That's gonna be Zootopia now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm out of my. I forgot I'm out of my depth anymore. But no, but that's as far back as it would go, though. You would have people beating other kids up because they had something on their shirt, and then you turn around. Well, you know, I did that to look tough in front of my friends, but, you know, I enjoy Disney stuff. Oh, so you like Mickey Mouse? That's furry, you know? And they're like, oh, okay, well, it's not. And they can't get out of it.
Can't get out of it.
Yeah, I remember those days.
But
I was open for in high school, so I had my fair share of beatings and my car spray painted.
Yeah. All right, so we got I think we got time for like one more. Depends on the time, because it's like 9:56, so that gives us 4 minutes for the show. So let's see here. One person asks, and I can't talk. Oh my goodness. I kind of have a specific question. Have you ever came up with a Christian-like allegorical story that is not bad, LOL, like for an anime or video game? No, but I do know someone that is kind of working on an anime like that. And funny enough, it's actually a little furry based, called Prince Adventures. It's a guy that's starting up, and he's even getting like the voice. It's American made anime, and he's getting what's his name? Vic Mignogna and some of the other popular guys from Funimation to go work on the project as voicing for some of these characters. And it's a big allegory that even references the Christian figures in it. And even one of the main villains, I believe, is the devil, is Lucifer aspect. So you get that in there. But no, for me, I did actually invent a game, not a video game, but like a concept of a game that's a role-playing game called Apostles and Evangelists. And what it's supposed to be was like, you are in like the early stage of Christianity within either the apostolic age to the Nicene period, and you just are going through having to do these tasks in which you are to do something without either being killed or being arrested or having to be influenced by certain things. So it's an interesting take that's not too cheesy like some of these things where they tried doing like a Dungeons and Dragons thing where it was like the dragon of lust, you had to slay it. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. No, it's pretty much trying to use something that's more of a interaction with and issues, and trying to actually deal with actual topics as well as things that actually happen in history. And you have a sort of a game master, and you have your own interesting idea of what your kind of early Christian would have been at that time. So I think I hear a bird, by the way.
My apologies. Sorry, I was in a different tab. And my cat's bucking me.
Oh, kitty. So yeah, that's one game I did come up with, and to this day, it's still. I even have a Discord server to try to practice it. So I never could get anyone to join in it. Like we only have me, a guy named Vincent, and then a guy named James. But if you're still interested, message me on Discord and we can talk. All right. So let's see here. We have another one. Oh wow, we had a lot. Okay, I'm losing my mind here.
Didn't Kirk Cameron come out with a video game? I never played it, but
are you talking about when you say Kirk Cameron? Are you talking about the Ray Comfort guy that used to be on that one sitcom back in the day?
Mm-hmm. I don't agree with him. I'm not going to try and promote him, but I could have sworn somebody was saying that he made a video games a while back.
Oh, it says here that he was in one called The Horde. Looks like, and it was on the Sega Saturn.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but on that note, I don't know how biblical the game was, but the novel and the movie.
It looks like some kind of funny comedy movie that's happens where you have a guy in the living room with an old man and he's got a sword or something. At least that's what it looks like here. I don't know. I'd have to see the game for myself.
Yeah, but people who are familiar with Chronicles of Narnia, the Witch in the Wardrobe, they turned that into a video game, but. I seriously doubt that the game itself would teach you anything about the Bible or stick to the premise of the novel. So
yeah, that's personally why I would say not even just go to the movie, just read the novel.
Yeah,
movies are for scrubs. Books are for good, knowledgeable people.
Well, if you read the book, if you read C.S. Lewis's book, you would know what to look for when you watch the movie. But in general, yeah. You wouldn't. You wouldn't.
I remember that was like one of the things that J.R. Tolkien argued with C.S. Lewis about is like, because Lord of the Rings had some Christian allegory in it, but by the time Lewis came out with his stuff, Tolkien's like, dude, you are being way too obvious with your metaphors and your allegories in this book. You need to tone it down. And I'm like, that's your argument. That's your complaint here. But no, like they had a back and forth discussion about that. It was like, one of the things that he found was so intriguing, yet something that he as an author, I guess, just couldn't get used to.
Yeah, one thing I find rather embarrassing about people who do create Christian games is that if you want to appeal to kids today in their Gears of War and Call of Duty games, actually, make a game that revisits King David and King Saul and and Samson and all the rest, and surviving a night in fire, or surviving a night in a pit of lions, and realizing you could just put your hand together and the lions would stop. That would be a game. That would make sense. There would still be blood involved, and you would get your kids interested because you're trying to fight by King David's side, fighting hordes of whatever Philistines.
Yeah.
And finding out, hey, you had the Lord on your back all the time. But no, instead they want to go and make it all wishy-washy and read the Bible and all lovey-dovey, and no wonder you're not getting the kids.
By the way, I just like right now that while you're saying this, it looks like that Foxler is just like leaning in, is like, oh, this sounds interesting. At least what it looks like on my screen. I just had to I had to screenshot that because that looked like, he's looking and he's like looking at the cameras, like even like, hello, what's this? And one ear's turned the other way, the other ear's look facing towards where supposedly the conversation's going. This is just awesome. This has probably been like, even though it's been the less people that we've ever had, it's also been the funnest night I've had for me at the same time. So thank you, Foxler and Remy, for definitely coming on the show.
No problem. Maybe next time I can bring some of my buddies over and we can have a party.
Absolutely, definitely bring more the merrier.
There's plenty of Raiders that love talking. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. All right, so one more question before we wrap things up. And by the way, Ronald Deal has come back from timeout, and Ronald, I can tell, is also Tom because he repeats the same question, like asking, if Hitler used homicidal gas chambers, why isn't Prussian blue found on the walls of the claimed homicidal gas chambers? Which is exactly what Tom said. And also another reason why he's going to be in timeout again. Ray Comfort teaches you have to stop sinning to be saved. When I say no, he doesn't. He says, yes, he does. He will burn in hell. He's a ravenous wolf. He damns souls to hell. And you know what I do, son? This is where my southern starts to come out of me. You pull it out. You're being sent to timeout again. All right, 300 more seconds. All right, there we go. That being said, Mr. Ken had a question. What do you think of David Wood's project where the public got to vote whether Robert Spencer dies or survives jihadis? It hasn't been uploaded yet. Soon. Whoa. Well then, they got that going. That I of course don't know when he's going to do this because I think I'm starting to think it might just have been a chain delete or block that happened on Twitter, and which I hate about it. That I'm blocked from following David Wood. But no, I mean, I've heard that he was doing this whole thing and he even like shaved his beard, or at least the mustache, so he can look like a Muslim and dress up as him for the skit they're doing. But yeah, what I think the projects that he does sometimes are just like absolutely crazy. Like it was especially funny though, too, because there was that one time that he's like, as a preacher, he's like a blonde type of a preacher, and he's like saying all these things in the Bible about, love, and then talks about what hell is, and then talks about, the history of what happened in the Old Testament, and the people saying, boo, you're a bigot, you're hate-filled, and then he's like, well, I must reveal to you the truth. I've not been confident with y'all. I'm not a Christian pastor. And then he like takes off his face, and then they switch the actors, and he's like, I am a Muslim. And then he starts quoting the Quran that have the same themes about what is in the Bible. And then you have the people in the audience like, oh, this sounds so polite and wonderful and peaceful. Like, he's saying the same thing the other guy just said. And they keep going. And it's like, sir, if you can't understand or tolerate this message this Muslim is preaching, you are a bigot. that hates peace, even though they just said were contradicted themselves concerning the pastor. So they're definitely very interesting skits that he's done. But I do also want to be careful with what David Wood does, because he has, got people that were actual jihadis that want to come after him. And he even does say, like, I'm going to go out for lunch. This is where I'll be. You have 45 minutes to come kill me if you can, because that's how long I'll be there. So I'll be looking forward to seeing you there, you jihadi. So he's very antagonistic. I'll give him that. He's very bold, but I would be very careful in how he would choose to do things concerning what he does. And of course, at the last minute, you are late.
I know.
And as soon as you come in, then the furry leaves.
I was about to say, you kicked them out. No.
Dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun.
Did you watch Did you watch that show, by the way?
What show?
What happened earlier?
I watched the part. I only watched like 1 second of it where he's got the animated avatar.
Yep. This is our good old friend Foxler. At least I like to think of him as a friend. Are we friends, Foxler?
Sure, why not?
Yeah. So
I got randomly kicked for a second. I don't know why.
randomly. What? Hold on. Let me check. Are you on the phone or a?
No, it wasn't. It was just a generic error from Google. I don't know. You all froze for a second. I'm like, wait, what? And then.
Yeah. Well, welcome back, and I guess intro. Foxler, the founder and one of the leaders of the Furry Raiders, meet Christian Man Foxler.
Hello.
Hello, Christian Man. How you doing?
Doing okay.
Yeah, I think y'all two might get along, especially due to the controversy that comes in. Which, by the way, again, since you hadn't seen the last few minutes, you mean check out at least the first minutes where I explained the controversy.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah,
it's all bull crap. It's all bull crap.
yes, it is.
he definitely knows. He's been a part of the.
Well, I just read that there was. I just want to throw this out there. There was supposedly an anime convention in Portland that got all their little panties in a twisty because somebody wore a Hello Kitty armband.
Let me guess. It was red with a white on it, or
I think maybe. I didn't see the actual picture of the armband, but they were like, "Well, we need to deploy rules now that sanction anything that we deem that has any Nazi." Symbolism or looks Nazi-like, we must ban. I'm just like, oh my god.
I mean, but at anime conventions, we aren't exactly as strict on that. We have yaoi armbands that are in that same style that you have for your armband for the Raiders, and in the same style, I guess, for the swastika, Hitler, Nazi, Third Reich regime. I don't know, PG-13. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah,
but,
I know what you mean.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna extend this for Christian Man since he managed to come in late. Technically, we're supposed to be off air by now, but I would like to, if Mr. Christian Man, who has pleased us with his one blue eye, one red eye having self, like to enlighten us. What's the question that you have for the good sir? My goodness, I'm almost about to go into a Grell voice. Please don't let me do this.
How you doing?
That's the question?
I'm thinking of one right now, but how you doing?
I'm doing quite marvelous. In fact, I'm doing swagalicious, swagtastic, swagnificent. Is that a real word? I don't know. Sue me.
Okay. What's your thoughts on charismatics?
Charismatics. Oh my. The people that love to sometimes, depending on the charismatics that you get, by the way, the people that love to think that the next sci-fi or fantasy movie becomes reality in how they interpret the Bible. There are some charismatics that are actually legit and good in how they do things. They actually are biblically sound in their thing. So I don't get too much into debate with him. But when you have people like Benny Hinn going around with his little jacket, slamming people, saying, "Let me slam the Holy Spirit out, the demons out of you, and slam the Holy Ghost in you," and starts whacking people with a jacket and then doing Mortal Kombat moves. You've seen the memes online of that. Then you have, what's his name? Robert Tillman, who, this was, I forget what program was on that this was the subject of, but you have him going, "Shaka Zaka Luka Zulu. We're seeing miracles grow around the world. We've seen midgets grow. Laka Laka Leki Motoku." So you have all these things, and especially some of them being funded with money too. Like a lot of them, it's no coincidence, usually keep emphasizing the donation aspect. Okay, we get it. Save the donation thing like at like the end of the show. And then maybe that's because that's what I've seen a lot of people do. Just save it for the end, but instead there's a commercial break. We're going to mention it in the sermon and blah, 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 blah. Part of the reason why I don't take donations for the most part. But yeah, like a lot of these charismatics, they are trying to not just add things to their theology in terms of like, what are these works? But they're also trying to add to the Bible. Like I talked with one guy who said that he believes that, you know, because of the charismatic gifts that there are today, that there can also then still be prophets. That means there can still today be more adding to the Bible.
Yay!
And here we go with this. That there's someone that can be adding more things to the Bible. Like he gives an example. There's a prophetess at my church.
Oh,
no. And I'm like, okay, we got a female teacher at the church. Okay, lay it on me. What's that? And said that as long as somebody claims that they are receiving visions from God, then we have to accept them and give them the benefit of the doubt. And so basically that's saying, you know, if I were to come out today, like I would go up to Foxler and say, "Hey Foxler, guess what? I just got this revelation to me. So along with this here, this is specifically divinely revealed from God. It's for you from God, and wants me to tell you to then write 2 words, and they will also be inspired. And then I want you to put them in the canonicity with the Bible. Could you do this for me?" And then, you know, you have all this thing where then Foxler would be probably confused as to what the heck is this guy talking about.
Kinda, yeah.
So that's my thoughts basically, is like, what are you people on about? And that's why, you know, not, like I said, not all of them. I like Dr. Michael Brown. He's a very good guy, and he's charismatic, but not as, you know, crazy as some of these other people are. And that's why I like John MacArthur's book on, you know, charismatic chaos and strange fire. These are good books that document all this, not only the strange things that these things have done, but also the harm they've done. Like I know people that people will mistake for being some kind of spiritual thing that's going on, that they're receiving some kind of revelation, but they have some kind of virus that causes them to heat up and they're choking a bit and they end up dying. So that's not good. And I don't know how you try to justify that afterwards. So there's a lot of bad things that could go around with situations like this. So that's why I'm not charismatic. That's why I'm a cessationist for the most part. I don't believe much of the spiritual gifts are in continuation, but though I do believe some of them do. But other than that, you know, I affirm a bit in the traditional that, you know, that the gifts were only for the apostolic time to establish the gospel and the preaching of the church, to gather the body of Christ, so that the church would be strong at that point during the time of the apostles. But by the time the apostles died out, then you have the church that's at its huge number, and it's up to them from using the word of God to then reach out to people. And that's been a good job so far. So let's just not try to do waka laka leka leka leaky as a main emphasis for salvation. Let's focus on preaching the Bible and preaching sound doctrine to get people in there, instead of trying to add mama jubu involved in it.
Yeah, if you're ever curious, I'm a charismatic myself, and
that's why I was careful with myself there. That's why I was careful.
And I thank you for that.
I take no offense.
Yeah, because I'm very much like Dr. Michael Brown.
Yeah, and like I said, I like him. Quick question.
I'm just not a Jew. That's all. Not that I know of, anyways.
Yeah.
Be careful with that.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
be careful. We have the Hitler reincarnated in the
A second, I thought maybe you guys were doing that because maybe it was an unbeknownst to me racist comment. I'm like, no.
No, at least unless you want to count Ronald
I'm
Deal's
just being
comments.
point blank. It's so.
Unless you want to count Ronald Deal's comments that he's talked about. What the heck is? Okay, we got an interesting guy now. Ben, we're going to close the show up, but I just want to read this. Ben, capitalism is unsustainable and creates artificial scarcity, while wealth is concentrated to the upper class. Infinite growth is impossible with finance. He's just posting a lot of this stuff and a lot of emojis.
Emojis, okay, infinite emojis.
I don't know where the heck this guy came from. You know what? I've already been on a roll with this, so good old Ben has just been putting time out as well until he can learn how to properly text and not text like my 4-year-old nephew. All right. Let's see here. Okay, so yeah, that's all the time we got for that. But I do want to thank. One more thing before we do go out there, Mr. Foxler, what did you think of that discussion or that response there? What, like, I know you said you haven't delved much into that, but like, what were your thoughts on just that alone?
On what specifically?
Like just the whole general conversation of the charismatic thing that I was addressing, that Christian man.
Oh, I had a hard time following that one, so it's not something I'm very aware of.
But you do know, like, the Benny Hinn's and the like the guy that I'm trying to remember what, like, he wears like the white stuff, the white jacket, and he has like, he takes his jacket, or he does like these Mortal Kombat moves, and he starts beating people, and he calls that like casting out the demons out of people for a price, of course.
I know Benny Hinn does that too, but I'm not sure.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. It's like the whole.
Sure who else, yeah.
Like, have you ever seen...
I'm not familiar.
Before we go, we're gonna have fun here. We're gonna show him Benny Hinn, the Kung Fu master. So let me pull this up here.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna show the lightsaber. Okay.
Oh no, like that's the thing that's been made to many memes. So here's where he starts. He's saying he's about to cast the Holy Spirit. Then boom, slaps that guy in the face. You've been healed, my friend. Get up. Get more people up here. We're gonna get you down. And then voila, Kung Fu. And so I'm going to screen share this or present to everyone. So yeah, he keeps doing that to the person saying that he's casting deliverance. Okay, now you get the woman. She gets slapped in the face as well. No one is safe from the wrath of the Kung Fu master of Benny Hinn. Okay, who's next? Oh, he's doing the dancing. He's being all happy and jittery. He slaps 2 people down in one go. Oh, he's keep on doing this. He is. Oh yeah, here's the lightsaber one. Where he, and I think this is when it's making fun of the jacket. So there's the lightsaber. Yep. And he goes, "Whatcha? Whatcha? Whatcha?" And so yeah, he's just like slamming on these people. And this is what he did for a living. He would get donations and he would say that he would heal them by doing this to them, by slapping them across the face, or that he would like hit them with a jacket. Like, that's supposed to be the jacket. That's where you have a little thing there moving around. But that's him. And well, yeah, look, like people just come towards him and they're like, "Heal me!" and we're going down. And oh, look, you can't forget Palpatine. I'm trying to figure out why the guy is going like acting like he's having a seizure there.
Oh, okay. Now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So those are the guys that I was talking about.
Wow.
I've seen that multiple times, and it still gets funnier every single time I see it.
No, I get it. That's some classic stuff right there.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
they should do the one where the entire crowd falls over like a bunch of dominoes.
Oh yeah, like there was like
they should make it look like he's Ryu from Street Fighter and just does the whole fireball.
Hadouken.
Everybody falls.
fireball, or then shoryuken, like someone, and then even like what's his name, the green guy that does the electricity, like that he's got all that going on. Someone gets shot by him.
Yeah, it's Blanca.
Yeah, Blanca. I've been out of the nerd. Oh, dang it! Looks like it happened to him too.
Yeah.
Google.
Oh no, he broke.
Dang it, Google! Stop trying to silence us.
Yes, Google likes to silence whatever they feel is not fit.
There you go.
Oh,
and
then he popped out.
Dang it, Remy! No, hold on. Dang it, Remy! I tried to do a Hank Hill impersonation, but I'm terrible at it. Oh, there he's back, and I'm gonna try to show him broadcast again. There we go. Bada bing, bada bam. Apparently, something happened there, Remy.
Yeah, it said a bunch of errors, and
that's what happened to Fox earlier.
Yeah.
Google's listening in. They're like, "You cannot speak the truth."
Absolutely. That's exactly what's happening. Who knows? Maybe I might be after this. Then it'll be Twitter that I'm banned from. If I'm not banned from that within 2 weeks from now, go ahead and hate on me, haters. That being said,
haters are gonna hate.
Haters are gonna hate. Absolutely. But yeah, that's been the show here. So my goodness, this has been the most fantastic show that I've had. Thank you, Foxler, for coming on. I can't wait to have you on next time. And like you said, bring your friends. The more the merrier. We'd love to have more of the furry raiders on. Because while some of the guys have been shaming you and casting y'all out, you're more than welcome on here. Because we welcome people. Unless then you start acting like a dang troll. Like Ronald, but though still we allow Ronald in occasionally on the live chat because we love seeing his hilarious comments. Like apparently he tried to say in one other account that he was the reincarnation of Hitler, which hey, sorry, that was already taken by this guy.
Yeah, now I'm a furry, a gay furry. That's the reincarnation. Oh gosh.
So problem solved. Also, Hitler was gay. There we go.
I could just see the LGBT community freaking out over that comment.
Oh yeah, surprisingly, there was actually some book that came out that tried to make the case that historically he was gay. I forgot his name. Brian Fisher claimed that the Nazi Party was formed inside of a gay bar. So a lot of interesting stuff that has been said. But anyways, yes. So thank you, Foxler, Remy, Christian, man, especially you and them goggles and them 2 different colored eyes. That is not natural, but hey, we love you anyways. Thank you also, the people in the live chat. You guys have been awesome, especially if y'all been able to tolerate me for the past few days, as well as just even now, or even just in general. Like if you subscribe to me from day 1, you have no life. You need to get some friends, get a girlfriend, move to Hawaii, and then enjoy a nice latte, you will have achieved yourself in life. So that being said, hope to see. I won't be seeing y'all next week because I will be over in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at Louisiana, and I will be doing a recording of Ask Christian Anarchist in the flesh there. So hopefully you guys can catch me there if you're tuning in and you're going to be in that area. So hope to see you there if you're interested. But until then, you can also just wait until they post it like a few days later. But enough of that. We are going to take it off the air. And if I guess unless these guys got to do something, we're going to chill a little bit here. I know one of the things I'm doing before I do anything for the rest of the night is going to get the Lay's Flamin' Hot Chips and start scarfing those down. I may be fat, but I can still enjoy some food. That being, huh?
Too hot for me.
Too hot for you, son.
Give me the sweet chili heat Doritos.
Yeah. I've had. You need Blaze. That's what you need. You need real man chips.
I'll finish a whole bag of sweet chili heat.
There you go. Wait, you'll sit in a tub of sweet chili heat?
Oh, I would do that too.
Well then. And we're gonna end on that note. Okay, so
we know what he needs for Christmas.
Well, I'll send it up to you with some, and you send me some maple syrup. How's that sound, Remy?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So until then, This has been the Christian Anarchist. Shalom Aleichem. Peace be upon you, because I wish that upon you. Have a